Hello, OpenSpokes. It'll be Wednesday by the time I get this published. And we're talking about learning. How do we teach someone to learn, and what does that mean, literate? What do kids have to know and be able to do in their futures? Well, before I talk about that, I want to recommend that you look at Susan's Haiku deck for Calgary, as those people have learned what's the most important thing in life, and that is how to come together as a community and solve problems with whatever talents each person has. So Ben asks us, what should a student know and be able to do by the time they graduate from high school? And he in particular asked a question that I am also concerned about and always asked is, what does that mean, they have to know how to learn? How do you teach someone how to learn? Well, to do that, students need to reflect on their learning, the learning that they do every day, and as a teacher, it's our responsibility to help them think about how they learn. How they learn to play a game, to play a sport, to cook an egg, to ride a bike, to solve a puzzle, to do an algebra problem, to learn history. How do they learn? Well, they do it. They ask, they practice it, they share, they play with others, they watch others, they learn from the masters and practice their plays. But what's behind that doing part? Well, behind that is interest, curiosity, a concern, like in Calgary, a sense of belonging. How do I fit in? What do I need to do to fit in? To develop confidence, to say, I can do that, I know that. To have power in knowing that you know things. To have fun, because it's your choice. Because you know something about it. Or maybe you know nothing and you want to build that background knowledge. But what's behind that? Behind that is a vision of what the learner wants. And once they have the vision of what they want, they can start to set a goal, a small goal, a large goal, and they have to know there's a chance to succeed. They need support, and they get it. If they're learning, someone's supporting them. They get feedback. Someone's listening to them respectfully, accepting what they're doing, encouraging them, being supportive. There's a trusting relationship there. There's some dialogue to help them move on to the next steps. And sometimes they don't take that message, but eventually they realize they need to listen to the coaches that are helping them. Because learning is a social activity. It's built from what we know to what we want to know, with a supportive encouragement and suggestions from peers. We act, we think, we feel. Our bodies kind of stir up if we get nervous. But we control how we act and how we think and what we do to direct our feelings. And all we can do to help another person is to give them information. And they will either receive it or not, and that depends on how we present it and how ready the person is to receive it. As a teacher, we need to think about those two things. And that means that relationships and the classroom climate are keys to learning. So that goes back to our needs as human beings, which is we need an interest and a choice to know we want to learn something. And then we need the freedom to make choices in how we achieve that. So we have to empower students to do that and to make their plan. So if I'm teaching the Civil War, and all the kid wants to know is about the Gatling gun, as a teacher, I need to ask them, how did that part, the Gatling gun, affect the Civil War? So if I can get the students' interests into the study, I can use their interest to draw out the bigger picture. And with different interests, we all get a better understanding by putting all those pieces of the puzzle together. So we always have to be asking, how does what you're learning, your part, your interests, add to the bigger picture of what we're studying, to our life, to your tribe, your community, the state, the world? What difference does it make? Always asking questions, searching, researching. I search, research, read, write, share, discuss, analyze, synthesize, evaluate, produce. It's always asking questions. What does your part of the puzzle do to fit? And that reminds me of what John Dewey said. He said, what a child gets out of any subject presented to him is simply the images which he himself forms with regard to it. So no matter what I'm trying to teach, the child always gets out of it what he or she needs. And so since it's those images that are important, we need to work with their interests in order to do and give them choices so that they can get the images that fit with what the learning is. Now, John Dewey said something else. He said, I believe that education, therefore, is a process of living and not a preparation for future living. So all this time that we're trying to help students prepare for what's coming to the future, we really need to come back to the community in the classroom, the community around the school, to help students with what their emotional life is, their life in their community, and the talents that they bring to the classroom. And working through those will help us understand what it means to be literate, our second question. So I think to be literate is to be able to understand the issues, to know or find the background of the issue, its components, possibilities, to analyze the possible connections or solutions, consider the ideas of others, communicate, collaborate, to extend the information, solve the issue, or remedy or remediate the effects by pulling in what we know, what others know, what the facts are, and what the possibilities are in order to make the decisions needed using whatever tools will help with the process and the product. And you know what that means, Brandon? It's the soft skills. It's what Karen was talking about. Social skills, playing, sharing, working as a team, conversing. It's all of those. So she talked about fearlessness and trust in the classroom so that they will speak up. There again, we've got relationship and classroom climate to build a learning community. What do we need to teach kids how to learn? Use their interests, lots of choice, bring it back to the big picture of what we're studying, and building that learning community. Now, Joe talked about students today might need to know how to manage a crowd. But I think there's an even bigger issue there. It came out in the hangout for the CL MOOC, which, by the way, Joe, you did an excellent job of managing that. And the issue was that people are mostly creating in these huge projects, their own projects, and not really collaborating. And with personalized learning, that could be a problem too. So our task might be to bring the crowd together to collaborate so communities form and work together. And kids may need to know how to form groups. And that brings us right back to the humanity in the classroom and the soft skills like Susan talked about. The balcony people, finding groups of people that support yourself. Not necessarily that they're the choir, but that they're supportive. And that we as teachers don't give up and we help them learn those skills. One of the scariest times for me, for example, was when I was a 5th grader. And if you know me really well, you'll know that I am a very extremely shy person. And so here I was supposed to be the leader of the team, and we had to meet after school. So sure, we had a task, but I had to be. And so I had to get everybody to meet, participate, to do, to share. I don't know what the facts were, but I learned courage. So who knows what is important for a student that day or that month or that year? Who knows that? It's the teacher. Soft skills are soft because they cushion us to belong and to have the social and emotional knowledge and courage to use and share the skills. They are by far the most important skills to learn. The hard skills, I can look them up. I can get a tutor. But learning how to build relationships, how to manage emotions, how to cope, how to form teams, how to be a team member, those are things in solving real issues of the lives of students today, bringing the history, the reading, the writing from the community, from where the child is now, at whatever age. I think that is important. Because as Aaron says, life is not a journey. Life is a journey, not a destination, and there are many pathways. So when Erin was giving her presentation, I appreciated the one time she said, when one door closes, a window opens. That was such a great message of hope, because sometimes it's not the door that's important, it's what's going on in the sidelines. Multiple paths, options. We need to help kids learn to look for options. And so many of my blogs always have what else in it, because that's what I always ask my students. What else do you want to know? What else could we do? What else, I said to the little boy with the flag. What else, I say to my students who are complaining about something. What else when they're troubled about something? What are our options? So how do you teach someone how to ask and answer big questions? And how do you teach them how to learn? And what does it mean to be literate? Well, that means we have to release control sooner, so that students are taking their lives as they are now and connecting it to what we're studying. And they're making choices, asking questions, making the plans, revising them. That's what kids need to know and be able to do. And we need to draw that out and lead them to be able to do that, to be able to form groups, to be able to know how to communicate and collaborate with others, how to analyze the information, all those other skills. Because in the end, it's the soft skills that are the most important. We need to be able to hold hands and stick together, as Susan talked about. So I want to end again with that John Dewey quote. I believe that education, therefore, is a process of living and not a preparation for future living. So think about that. How can we take kids from where they are and lead them to what they need to know and be able to do today? Because that's what's going to help them. That's what's doing and practicing for now will help them, as I learned, the courage to speak up and join groups. That's what's important. And that's how to do it. Did that help, Ben? I hope so. Thanks, OpenSpokes.